have some fun in these things from time to time at least. Well, title of this particular video may sound pretentious, of course, like usual. Hear me out again. So, back when I was growing up, the big question used to pop up all the time. Some debated it, I think stupidly so, but the answer was pretty much agreed on from the very start, from the every source that might have been respected at any point in time. Yes, video games can be considered an art form. It, they just are, and it's not the nature of the video games that can provide something like that. It's more of an capabilities of an artistic expression. Yeah, you can express yourself artistically in many kind of forms, and video games are quite convenient in that regard, I believe. Um, in my opinion, the point of an art, for me, it was always to have an experience, to provoke thought process, or to provoke certain emotions, or a combination of both, and changing of both. Anything can happen in the world of art. And I think that debate I just mentioned was so hot during the late 2000s and early 2010s that it happens precisely because of the quality of games that we had back then, and the change of attitude towards developing games that occurred in most companies since then. One of the biggest games of the whole era wasn't, without a question, the Half-Life 2. It was not just a sequel, but a colossus of an event in PC gaming history. For context, just so you would understand where I'm coming from, I have beaten Half-Life 1 recently. And what I mean by that, I reached the ending of the game for the first time in my life last December. I played it. I played the game for a long time. Ever since I was 5 or 6, I have played both Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. I enjoyed their multiplayer games whenever I was tired of Counter Strike, and I finally fully experienced it only recently, in the most respectable form. Well, not respectable, but in a form that it was meant to be uh, experienced. The single player campaign. How about that? And my memory is quite fresh on the matter. Therefore, I will speak bluntly about it. So, Half-Life 1, pretty much an indie game. It is a puzzle FPS hybrid in the setting of the Area 51. During the course of the game, Gordon Freeman, silent physicist, becomes the savior of many lives, including the lives of the life forms from different worlds, and enters an alien world to put local deity to, you know, put him to rest. The most convoluted questions were that who the hell was the G-Man, the man in the ending of the game, and who exactly did he represent? Because it was obvious that he was talking for someone, and he talked in the manner that that was weird, like he was a reptiloid or something. It really grabs your attention. How deep is conspiracy about the alien portals? How deep it goes, since we have found out that Black Mesa knew all along about the Zen and had its local fauna in its terrariums, experimented on them for some time, when we got to the later levels of the game. we find all this evidence. Therefore, you know, just to keep the idea going, many people were waiting for the sequel because it left so many interesting doors opened. And how did it go? So, Half-Life 2 is a long-awaited game. First one was universally loved, and the second one had to deliver. I don't think anybody expected to get this much of a treat as a result. Nobody. It had capabilities and technical requirements, of course. It was a little problem of mine. Of the source engine, they have developed a new engine just for this game. That means new graphics, AI, physics, lighting, of course. Everything got improved universally. But we have improvements on certain other fronts as well. Viktor Antonov, with his art direction, moved the game much further, though. Much further. What some could argue was a simple FPS about the Area 51 conspiracy, as I have told before, now, in its sequel, transcended its original ideas on several levels, I believe. It's like it went from 2D to 3D. It became much more. From the game, it became an art. Unspecified desert changed as a setting to East European post-Soviet landscape of City 17, Ravenholm, and their surrounding areas. Me being a Slav and growing up in a similar environment, feels so at home here. In its streets, small corridors, and roofs, the railways especially, and running on the garage rooftops. Uh, it was a childhood of mine. It's something that is dear to me. But the game, the Half-Life 2 pretty much immediately throws the game, it throws complex ideas at you. You were away, you are Gordon Freeman, the main hero of the Half-Life 1, and the game starts from what? It starts that you were away from the Earth, from the world where we all live in, for a decade or so, frozen in time to do something that is unknown to you even now. Everything that happened during the first game changed the planet forever, and it changed it in many ways. Aliens live among us now. Some species share the living space with us, but the others live with us not as the collaborators, but as oppressors. The Combine, they don't want to live on equal terms. They don't want to try to fit into the local flora and fauna. And what's the best part? After all that decade, you gotta come back to work, man. The schedule, it is still going, and you still need to, do your tasks as you were never properly fired, of course. So one of your old bosses, one of your former bosses, the one narcissistic asshole who nobody liked, and yet he was speaking the most toasts during all the office parties. You know the kind of boss I'm talking about. He happens to be the representative of this evil regime. How convenient is that? Even though you're still a physicist, now you play someone of much bigger scale. During the last 10 years, while you were missing, the name of Gordon Freeman became legendary. Vortigons, one of the aliens who typically were the enemies of yours in last games, now live among humans. They treat Freeman with the religious honor, like he is a person of an important prophecy to them. Great respect is placed upon the man they never talked with, no, pretty much. That mystery adds some spice to the story, which is really cool. Humans, the local residents of the earth, if you forgot, um, heard different rumors about Gordon, and the myths and legend intertwine and pile up. So the word starts spreading. People somehow know about you. Your former colleagues talk about you. The people you saved during the Black Mesa incident talk about you. Your former drinking buddies like Barney. I'm sure he raised a couple of beers in your honor while you were away. You know, after all these years, people they're aware of you, and that awareness really comes crashing down once you start traveling the world, and the world constantly changes as you traverse it. Every well, not every, but pretty much most of the places that you visit change after your visit. Uh, and it is good. The feeling of um, change and feeling of importance of your choices and your actions in this game. It is substantial. It is good. And since humans, heard all kinds of different rumors to the Gordon Freeman, um, they they kind of like you. Rarely you can find someone who is indifferent to you. Pretty much impossible. Only in the beginning of the game, if I remember correctly, when you go through the corridors of the apartment buildings, you can meet some people who are sad because they are getting relocated or something, and even so, some of them help you escape. The person they don't know at the moment. They don't know who you are, and yet they help you. And I like that little detail that there are some you stumble upon good people really fast. That is nice. That is nice. And during the game, you go even further with this grandiose idea that your persona, the Gordon Freeman character, is something that is much more than just a silent protagonist who holds the weapon in hands. You become an alpha in the minds of giant bloodthirsty bucks. You know how it goes. Like just another day on the job after all, and you become a legendary revolutionary. Like, what the hell, man? So much happens in the span of 14 hours of gameplay. Well, or something like that. Scale of events is enormous, but it holds up. The gameplay is a mixed bag for me. I will say it outright. I played the game for the first time back in the time of its release, and tried it again from 3 to 5 times during all of my life, and only now have I got hooked. How did that happen? My main problems were that I didn't know where to go. I was frustrated with the puzzles. I didn't like how the guns have felt, and the game treated me so personally when I didn't understood the context of it all. So I kind of got tense, the game pushes me to do things that I don't understand at all. And now that I have that proper context, now that I have completed Half Life 1, it is much easier, thankfully. And I believe some things can get better with age, and not like wine, it doesn't changes on its own. It's more like you as the person who experiences it. You change and your tastes change. And when you were a kid, you hated, the bitter and sour tastes. Now you suddenly enjoy them. And on the opposite side, the sweet taste that you enjoy, that is favored by kids now, is bad for you. And the same thing goes with Half Life 2, I think. Taste change, and in this particular case, for me personally, changed dramatically. The game starts slow, but somewhere around Ravenholm or a bit later, it becomes a little bit faster. Battles become more intense, puzzles become more creative and less tiresome. I mean, when you're a Slav in the middle of the revolution in the Slavic town, and drum bass drops on your HEV suit, enemies completely lose their last chance. The rhythm alone can carry me to the end titles of the game. I can tell you, it is badass. No matter the difficulty, of course. Uh, we get more Alex as the game goes on, which is good. I enjoyed Alex as a character. So, if you're thinking about playing the game, I can tell you right away. If you are not hooked after 5 to 6 hours, you can drop it. I don't think it has anything to offer to you. You experience most of the stuff, during the first half. The cars, the tools, the physics, creative ideas. Yeah, later you get like these turds that you can throw to make the bugs aggressive, and later you get your own squads of NPCs to follow you, but they will not change the game dramatically for you. So that is my advice for the moment. Even so, I can advise you to dabble on it. Try it. Give it, an hour or two at least. Maybe you will like it. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Maybe you will like it for something that I don't even notice myself, which is good. After all, as I mentioned before, Half-Life 2, in my opinion, is an artistic experience. Mostly it's an artistic experience, and secondly, it is a game, rather than the traditional video game. Popular trope in gaming during the time was the helicopter bosses. Every game had to have at least one. Half-Life 2, it gives you a lot of those, and it gets worse every time for me. I didn't enjoy them at all, personally, but I have enjoyed many classic characters and elements of the game. So let us discuss them. First one, of course, it is Alex. Alex Vance. Pretty much the main character of the game, aside from Gordon himself. Alex is charming. She takes initiative during the time of great stress, so that is really, really impressive. If some of modern game journalists would even try to tell me that the games nowadays lack strong, non sexualized female characters, I know that they haven't even played the classics. All right, like this game, like Beyond Good and Evil, like American McGee's Alice, like Portal, like Mirror's Edge, and many others. And they don't even have to be the main characters. We have plenty of side characters that are impressive, which happen to be female. Who would have thought that female could be interesting? You but Alex, Alex is smart. She's charismatic, of course, and she does all that. She does all that she can do, uh, so that she can be a good friend, a good daughter, distinct comrade, and sister in arms, and maybe even something more. We'll see. I haven't played the episode 1 and episode 2 at this very moment. Also, I adore Alex's design, the clothes she wears, her model. It's cool that her looks reveal so cleverly to my mind her multiple sides. She wears this hoodie with Black Mesa logo. She wears mostly convenient clothes that are easy to move in. She doesn't wear a skirt, and she wears the jeans, which was, empowering at the time. People kind of forgot it nowadays. It was kind of cool, and she not just, you know, he has some more to her, as I have told before. Her design, her movement, her behavior, the way she, approaches the situations, approaches the characters, be it Gordon Freeman, or her father, Judith Mossman, or, Dr. Breen, no matter. She retains her authenticity. She has both tomboyish, qualities, such as, short hair, her clothes, and her style, but also feminine charm, her real emotional side. It is difficult to describe, but anybody, uh, well, I think everybody who played the game knows what I'm talking about. But after 20 years or so, yeah, it was more than 20 years right now. Her design still looks good. It isn't outdated at all. At all. Just good. They just made the good design. Sometimes it can happen, some things become, timeless, not because people really praised it on the release, but because they are that good. They are that, the qualities of that kind. And I saw a screenshot of the VR game, the Half-Life Alex game, where she's the protagonist, and they made her look more beautiful, which I think, as an artistic choice, is a little bit regrettable, because I think she was charming the way that she was originally. But as a big as business practice, it is understandable. The Valve, they haven't done it once, they haven't done it twice, they haven't done it 3 times. They do it consistently. The same fate befallen Chill from the Portal games, by the way. Her original, more Native American looking design from the first game was, in my honest opinion, better than the beautiful, thick lips and tank top design from the second game. And it lets your mind wonder if the authors of the game really tried to tell you something with that design. Native American who was kept in captivity, and the whole point of the game is to leave that cold corporate kind of environment and go to the nature. You know, uh, Lost opportunity, but I digress. I digress. Um, uh, there are other characters and important, sides to the story aside from Alex, of course, and that's our old Blake Mesa compadres. When I first met Barney in 2004, 2005, I don't remember, he was so glad to see me. I was a bit baffled. It was unexpected, and I didn't understand the dynamic between him and Gordon at all. But the context of the first game really, really uh, makes it better. Our first game, I think, quite creatively showed how Gordon was perceived by his colleagues, and Barney keeps the narrative and the communication between the characters really grounded. Because you're surrounded by the nerds in these games. It's just nature of the beast. The two nerds that you usually surrounded by are Dr. Kleiner and Dr. Eli Vance, your former colleagues from the Black Mesa. Dr. Kleiner shares the voice and similar looks to the standard model of the first game. Eli Vance, of course, shares some resemblance to the models of the first game as well. They both, in their behavior and in their, approach to the Gordon, they give off very pleasant Black Mesa vibes. And what I mean is, when you play the first game and your communications options with NPCs are limited by both technology and the scope of the game, the developers made many clever decisions to show who these scientists are, their interests, their temperament of sorts. And these two characters, new characters pretty much, because I don't remember them being fleshed out in the first game. They represent this exact nerdness very well. Dr. Kleiner may feel a bit aloof, but his love for his head crab feels a bit sweet. It is nice. Eli is a good man. I really like Eli. He doesn't have a leg. He lost his wife. His whole world is being occupied by hostile aliens, which partly has been his fault. Well, he might perceive it, of course. He has reason to perceive it this way. And yet, this poor man, after all the bad that has happened to him, he still retains the optimistic approach to this. That is amazing. He raises his daughter well. He is such a Chad that his colleague, Dr. Judith Mossman, falls for him after he lost everything, after he grew old, and he doesn't even have a leg. What a great guy! You gotta strive to be like like him. That is good. That is good. And that's how we, We can look at Judith Mossman now because that is the character that I enjoyed as well. I think we need more Judith Mossmans in modern culture, in the TV series, in books, in games, because she is a flawed but interesting female character. What I mean at is that uh, it is obvious to the viewer that she grows as the story progresses, which has been difficult for many script writers nowadays. All the excuses she gives, and everything about her behavior goes well with the spirit of the game. And I believe the spirit of the game is, despite the aliens, despite the tyranny, nerds too remain humans. All the named characters are pretty much nerds, aside from Barney and Dog, but it doesn't really matter that much. And they still retain their humanity, and humanity means being weak, to certain things, I believe. And she shows her human weaknesses. She obviously shows her pride. She shows love, which some may interpret as a weakness at a certain context. She shows fear, obviously, and uh, in most scenes that we, experience with her, uh, it is hard to remain indifferent to her, which is good. She goes through all these scenes and all those stories like a human, not as some overmind level nihilist, like having all complexities in your head and being above emotions, being above some small human squabbles. We're talking about alien technology, we're talking about technical revolution here. She is obnoxious, and yet, because she is, she's that weak, she's that interesting, and that puts her well with the game's main antagonist. Well, one of the main antagonists, Dr. Breen, which is especially good, and I will talk about that more later. The dog, the dog is a cool mascot with creative writing and level designing. The developers make it inevitable that dog would be cool. His coolness would feel natural to the viewer, like obvious. It is obvious, it is something that you can't miss. It is beautiful. You know, with that approach to the animations, that would feel lively, natural, and important to the things that happen around you. Even the silent characters, such as Dog, can feel like it has a will of its own, and it is good. But uh, if you want the simpler, experience of the dog is that even though the scenes with the dog are usually scripted, which may be off-putting to some, like Todd Howard, for example, they are scripted majestically. I love Dog. Rebels and humans overall are impressive in general, even though the company didn't have 100 different voice actors to give to each nameless NPC their own voice. They were played real good, charismatic, just as it was in the first game. And of course, as the tradition goes, they have a bit of absurd and funny side to them. I'm sure that it wasn't intentional in all the cases, but I know that it was in some. And I like all these moments altogether, nonetheless, no matter if they were intentional or not. Uh, Now the antagonists, the main forces of the story are the Combine. They were invented specifically for this game. They're the main force against which we fight on in the game, and they're alright. I don't have too strong of an opinion about the Combine. They're sterile, they're cold, they're oppressive, and they are effective, which, uh, you know, it's like when you do an FPS and you don't know who to put as an enemy, and you're like, just throw some Nazis at them, it would be easy, people will shoot them on sight. And I think here is somewhat of the similar approach. I think that they lack in personal touch a bit, though. Maybe I missed something, maybe I don't. I don't know. But the best thing in their design is when the moment late in the game, when you ride these pods on rails in a citadel, and you experience both Monsters Inc. vibes as well as Matrix movies vibes. It's kind of funny, it captures the spirit of the time so well, if you think about it. And not only the spirit of the time, but it looks gorgeous, uh, with or without that kind of context. The other kind of aliens that we usually get are the simple aliens and zombies that we had in abundance in the first game. I think that they lack in importance a bit. I think sometimes the developers put a little bit of a stretch to make them, to enforce the combat situation between you and them, because the first game made us understand that these aliens are not evil, but they have hostile instincts. They are very protective of their surroundings, and some of them, like headcrabs, are symbiotic in nature. And what is the most important, all of the aliens in the first game were controlled by the main boss of the game, Nyland. You know, so nowadays they don't have much of a reason, to be aggressive to you in most parts. But it was alright, and what was good about that it kept the gameplay a little bit more varied. It wasn't as boring and sterile as it is with Combine sometimes. Um, it is funny that the things, with sticky tongues that come from the ceilings, you know what I'm talking about, are plaguing the sewers in the City 17 nowadays. It makes the world of Half-Life 2 feels authentic. Uh, you know, uh, it's not like the aliens were misused all the time. It was in rare occasions mostly. Most of the times they were used either okay or really good, and having these kind of any aliens in the canals, it's like having an alligator in in your sewers. It is fun. It is fun. it makes the world look really distinct. You know, like the last 10 years that you have missed, they have changed the world forever, and it will never ever be the same. You could never change as a man, and you can never change back what has happened. It is good. It is good. Uh, Ravenholm, you know, the main point of the game that should have made the aliens shine. Uh, it is it is sort of designed as a thriller, but you know, it doesn't make me feel that scared. I took too many shits in the woods at night to be afraid of this little sweet town. Uh, but I enjoyed it though for what it is. It looked quite beautiful, unlike many levels that you see in games nowadays. And I enjoyed it. No, I enjoyed it. And the main face that we wish we could punch pretty much from the start of the game is the face of Dr. Breen, of course. As I have told before, the game claims that he is your old acquaintance, even though she was nowhere to be seen in the first game. But it is okay. That kind of retroactive writing is nothing to be ashamed of if it's done correctly. And I enjoyed Dr. Breen's villainy. He has an honor of the internet bully while maintaining classic bully from the school attitude and methods. Even his animations are silly, like when you are doing the last boss rush against him and you are trying to reach him in time and he is outrunning from you. He gets in the elevator just in time so you couldn't catch him, and he has such a silly looking smile while he doing, like, you know, like Macaulay Culkin in the Home Alone movies, like, yeah. It is so charming. It is good. It is good. We need more villains like that, and it humanizes him a bit. uh, you know, I summarized him before. You know, I mentioned you know, some parts that I have enjoyed about him, and as I have told before, he really stands cool aside Judith Mossman, because they are both narcissistic, overly proud to claim to be intellectual elite of the whole world, by the way, and both of them have quite a frail egos. While Judith, in one hand, it is jealous and possessive, Dr. Breen has a tragedy of his own. His tragedy is that he is lonely, and it is, you know, it is easy for him to experience loneliness since he is the ultimate betrayer of the game. Nobody likes him, and obviously, especially, uh, who doesn't like him are the intellectuals that he claims to be his kin, you know, his brothers in the Earth's progress, his Black Mesa colleagues. All of them denounce him, and yet his biggest pride is being in authoritative position over them, and unwilling to admit that he's a coward. He just shuts off from everybody in a cold, distant tower and showers everybody, be it friend or foe, no matter, with so many attempts to bully people. It is quite fun. You know, there was this moment in the game where He just shouts something through the computer screen directly to you, Gordon Freeman, and he says something like, "What have you created?" "Nothing. You have created nothing, and I have created shit. Therefore, I have moral high ground about you. Fuck you, man, and peace out." And he just finishes the Discord call. And what if Gordon Freeman was what if he had low self esteem? It would have been like, damn, he's right. I'm like 27, and even the last 10 years of my life I have missed them. I don't have anything. I haven't done anything with my life, and he just stands there pondering about his life while whole city surrenders to chaos of the war. It would have been so stupid, but I don't know what Dr. Breen was thinking. Well, I know what he was thinking, but you know what I, you know what I mean. And the closest human connection that Dr. Breen has is Judith, which is hilarious. It's really ironic because she is the betrayer too. Uh, Him being the ultimate betrayer, he puts her as the personal assistant of his. Uh, he gives her a lot of authority and attention, and yet he is too lazy to even treat her as a human person at the moment of his triumph, when all of his enemies are in the same room. uh, he is more preoccupied with his own, grandeur, rather than the Judith feelings that she expressed weren't, it was going, in a bad direction if you look at it from the very beginning, and he just didn't do anything about it. The only thing that he had to do just tell Judith, let's see each other like in an hour or so. I got things to do. And everything would have turned out well for him. But being the weak, evil man, it happens to you. It happens. And now, the one of the most important characters of the games that I wanted to cover are the weapons. More like tools, actually, because you can do a lot in this game. The first one that deserves the mention is, of course, the crowbar, the authentic symbol of the Gordon Freeman since the first game. Uh, it is amazing. No doubt about that. Absolutely. It is rarely that you get a weapon of such kind in first-person shooter. The default knife that is so good. The weapon whose main purpose is to have unlimited ammo, and that is it. But crowbar is much more. Just like in the first game, it is treated less like a weapon and more like an instrument. Sorry about that. More like an instrument, a tool. Since it is dirt easy to break crates with planks or flying gyrocopters and annoying headcrabs. You know, the thing remained relevant throughout an entire game, and it was such a joy to use. There was a section towards the end of the game where you were swarmed by headcrabs, and me, feeling fancy after beating Dark Souls 3, I decided to deal with the situation with my hands on, and with my crowbar in hand and clever dodging to approach the whole wave. There were like, 40 or 50 of them, I don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong, someone can clever me, on that one. But with just attentive dodging and precision of this glorious tool, it worked. I haven't got a single hit. Well, I haven't received a single hit, of course. I have dealt a lot of them. And that speed, precision, and abundance of uses for the weapons such as this makes it feel amazing, of course. The second weapon is the gravity gun. The gravity gun is the mm, probably, if it's not the most impressive feature of the game, it is one of the top three, one of the most important characters of the game, no questions asked. It plays a role that is of importance, that is close to Alex, and it is amazing since Alex, she is integral to the story. You can't put her away from the story. It is like she's like the spine to the body of the story. And Gravity Gun is the same for the gameplay. Um, you know, if you need a reason for the existence of Half-Life 2 to ask yourself, why does this game exist? Why should it exist? Maybe the Gravity Gun would give you a good answer to that question. It makes you remember that you're playing the puzzle game, and if you like puzzles, you can have some fun during shooting too. One of the more fun enemy encounters I experienced during the game when I stubbornly stuck to Gravity Gun as my weapon, throwing red barrels and some junk at my enemies. Level designers put all kinds of stuff strategically in many places of the game just because, and only for this reason, I believe. They believe that since you have this thing in your pocket, you should always have a chance to have some fun with it. That is a good game design, and it is amazing. Gravity Gun is a testament to the philosophy of Valve at the time, I believe. And let me explain on that. You see, Gabe Newell had this famous quote that I really like. It was something like, realism is not fun, but when the game acknowledges your decisions, it feels good. Like when your shots leave bullet holes in the walls, that kind of feeling. And I totally agree with the man. Same thing happens with the Gravity Gun during the game. Because even though the ammo is not an issue for this tool or weapon, no matter how you describe it, when you first take it, you think that it would be cool to pick up enemies and throw them at each other, or just use their bodies as ammo when you do the job. And during the last boss rush, your Gravity Gun gets upgraded, and it feels like your parents allowed you to go bicycle riding on your own, anywhere you want, without training wheels. Shackles drop from your ankles, like Rock Lee fight in Naruto, and it feels glorious. Years go by, and Gabe was never proven wrong. Never. His approach, his formula, it just works. And for years, I never understood why more companies did not pick up Valve's model and values, because it did wonders for them and their games. But I digress again. what other weapons? The other weapons are good too. I enjoyed most of them. The way they sound, the way they deal damage, both are either decent or really good, and you get enough ammo to enjoy them to your heart's content as the game goes on. One of the more little known quality of life features that I really enjoy is, and that feature defines Valve's attention to detail, is what happens when you go out of ammo. Let me explain. When you are out of ammo on your crossbow, you automatically switch to the revolver, and vice versa. When you're out of the ammo on the revolver, you switch to the crossbow. What does it mean? That means that in the time of stress, when you all usually go out of ammo during the gunfight, when you are at the most vulnerable, and during this time of relative crisis, the game doesn't force on you the switch of tempo in gameplay, but does its best to retain the tempo that you have. And the tempo that I'm talking about is, your movement doesn't change, but weapon changes only slightly because both crossbow and revolver have distinct, similar, what I call tempo qualities. They are both slow weapons, and they have strong shots, and they are both slow to reload. And since you approach these weapons with similar gameplay style, it is pleasurable when you lose the ability to play the game that you like, but you are immediately given the second best option, or just in a situation where only this kind of weapon can produce the results that you need, and you suddenly go out of ammo, and now you can choose the next best thing just like that. No losing no time, nothing, and no risks taken. Awesome. It isn't, the situation with the weapons in the game. It isn't perfect. Since the main weapon of the game is the one that we usually get the most ammo, is the submachine gun, or like traditional Uzi. Even though it is economically advantageous weapon, it both deals comparatively little damage and isn't precise at all on longer distances. When I am forced to use this in the middle of the battle, I yawn on instinct. It is so boring, since I know, even though it is a reliable weapon, and I can get a dirt load of bullets just by picking them up from the corpses. Because of this low damage and low accuracy, it stretches what otherwise could be a fun gunfight into a slow chore because you want to do your things reliably. And if you're an FPS enthusiast, it is possible that you wouldn't enjoy this classic. It is a chore. It is a chore. But it isn't the worst thing. It is manageable, and when the game at its slowest is just okay, it is a really good thing to notice. And those kind of things that I mentioned is why I believe that the existence of this particular game have made many people question if the game could be considered an art form. The main joy of the Half-Life 2 comes not from the traditional video game elements, but from creative designs, beautiful stylistic and narrative decisions, and high attention to details. When the game makes me fight 3 helicopters or 5 fucking striders in a row, I'm thinking, how did I deserve this pain? How? But when the game throws puzzles and creative fights at you, it is different. When you're stuck on it, on some puzzle, you feel stupid. Sure, it is normal. But once you discover the answer, once you find it all, and once you find it all yourself, on your own, nobody can help you, if you stuck to it, it feels different. It feels much better because once you discover the answer, you may feel smart, because you did something smart. And if you did something smart, that brings you closer to the game's protagonist, which happens to be a physicist in a hazard suit with a crowbar in hand, who, for the second game in a row, enjoys a good sight of overgrown insects eating people alive. you know, you don't always think that you want to be close to the person like that, but it is surprisingly impressive, protagonist. It is somehow easy to get into his mindset. It is so cool. The other thing to mention is how this game was an important point in Valve's history. If you are more interested in the topic, recently Valve released a documentary about the topic, and there's a lot to cover there since the developers were struggling financially. The development of Half-Life 2 marked great changes in gaming cultures. I shall mention some of them. First great change in the gaming culture was the birth of Steam, the famous marketplace for PC gaming. It was a great creative decision by Valve's management, and it was the reason that PC gaming not only survived through the times of great competition with the home consoles. There was a lot of good releases back then, and it was comfortable, it was affordable, and the piracy on PC was rampant. But such a beautiful solution as Steam turned me, a Russian man, from the life of piracy towards the life of class, the prestige. Once again, the wise Gabe was smart about this when he claimed that quality service wins against piracy all the time. I believe so as well. If you provide it, of course, and you provide it consistently. Steam is a topic on itself, so I won't go into it much. But if you wish to talk about it, you can find me on stream or in the comments below. But the second, great change in the gaming culture was the birth of Source Engine. The Source Engine was developed just for Half-Life 2, and it was a successor to their previous Gold Source Engine, if I remember correctly. After 20 years, we can certainly appreciate that event. Even at the time of the Half-Life 2 release, there were two other less known but hugely impressive games that were released by the hands of the different developers. First game is Might and Magic: Dark Messiah, which has its own cult following. But the second one game that I want to mention is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which has a cult following too. You know, uh, people tend to forget that that they all got released in the short span of time. I believe that Masquerade, or was it Might and Magic? I don't remember particularly well, but some of these games might might have been released before Half Life Two. Yeah, that sounds crazy, but it might be so. You can check it out, but I'm not really interested in that at the moment. These games, these two games, are legendary and deserve separate attention on their own. Later, thanks to the advantages of the Source engine, even Valve themselves gave us, such good things like Left 4 Dead games, Portal games, Team Fortress 2, Dota 2, and, two and a half more Counter Strike games. It was really good. It was really good. But not just attention from Valve and their good business practice, selling their engine to the side studios was good. But the fans, the fans really made sure to explore the possibilities of this engine even further. Big projects were born. Some people know the game IYE, the Divine Cybermancy, which is a convoluted game, sure, but it is an interesting experience. And most importantly, the best thing that, in my opinion, came out of Half Life 2 is the Garry's Mod, of course. Modern kids, you may know Garry's Mod as as the reason of the birth of the Skibidi Toilet, may your soul rest in peace, of course. And many cool games, like Prop Hunt, who doesn't like Prop Hunt, and most importantly, Trouble in Terrorist Town, which was huge. It popularized psychological and communication elements of multiplayer games. Its drama, it's astonishing. I think Trouble in Terrorist Town walked, in some sense, so Among Us could run the decade later, or I don't remember when it came out, something like that. But never was Among Us enthusiast. Trouble in Terrorist Town, I really like. The games are similar. Okay, yeah. The more we have those kinds of games, the better. That's what I believe. And I wanted to mention the third thing. The third great change that came into the gaming culture, and that thing was the success and bold risks that were taken by the developers, because it inspired many of their colleagues, and I'm sure of it. It was a true sequel in a true sense of the word. You need to satisfy the old fans and do more, so this sequel can stand on its own, be its own beast. Some people talk about the Rocky 2 or Terminator 2 as the good sequel experience in that regard. And I think Half Life 2 is somewhat similar beast in that matter, because it is, on the one hand, still a mix of puzzle and FPS in a cool environment, cool sounds, somewhat funny, made by nerds and for nerds, but it also has great story this time around. It has Gravity Gun, it has Alex, it has the Rebellion, and many things more. Uh, Therefore, it is obvious that during the time when gaming industry was going through the big change, trying to find their format and everything like that, people were looking eagerly at Valve as the company who produced the first Half-Life game. Could they, reproduce their miracle? Is it possible for a small individual company be consistent in their result, or the money is the factor, and you need a bigger crew to do big bold games that would be reliable in their income for the publisher. And Half-Life proved that the good work can speak for itself, and people just they survived through the tough times and managed to thrive after all, and they earned it. It is good. So we have talked about the past extensively. Let's talk about the modern day and the future of Half-Life. I believe that the attention Valve shows to its classic is what makes Valve a company that old school gamers like myself respect and adore. Today, Half-Life 2 runs beautifully on modern platforms. I encountered only one bug when one of the revolutionaries stood too close to me in the elevator or something, and I jumped at the wrong moment, so I got stuck behind him and I was just stuck. His AI wasn't reacting, I couldn't be dropped on the floor. But after 5 minutes of wiggling around, throwing the grenades on the floor to make the NPC scared and make them move, I got out. So it wasn't a big deal. Even though I kind of understood one thing, and that is I forgot how to open a console in the Half-Life games. In the Source games, more accurately, because if I remember correctly, it's on the escape this button. I don't remember how it's pronounced in English. But it doesn't work in Half-Life. I thought, just a simple no clip will save me. But nah, I even did it without it. It's alright. I bought the game, the Half-Life 2, a decade or so ago to get more textures for Garry's Mod. Recently, they gave it away for free. How cool is that? That is amazing. Thanks to that giveaway, I now have episodes 1 and 2 for the Half-Life. Therefore, I now have all the textures that I need in Garry's Mod, even though I haven't played it in a while. That is great. That is actually really good. Well, some game publishers, publicly discuss their plans to make gamers comfortable with not owning games no more. Valve gives the games away, just like that. I love it. I wish to see more of it. That is good. That is good. So, for me personally, Half-Life 2 ended up being so much more than I expected. I tried it more than 5 times, and only now have I fallen in love with it. Only now do I understand how the memes about Half-Life 3 have stayed relevant for so long, why the Half-Life community is so awesome and creative.
It is just the games that they love deserve that kind of love. That's the simple beauty of it. For me personally, it means something else too. Since I am on this challenge, that means that I need to complete both episode 1 and episode 2 as well, which I somewhat look forward to, but I'm not sure if I should attempt them right away. Because Half Life ended up being a tiny bit tiresome, the second game. But the first game, yeah, was tired a bit after completing it too. So maybe I will keep on grinding it until completion soon. Maybe I don't. I'm thinking about it. I won't take much time into this decision. And that is my rant on the matter. I believe I can speak about Half Life games for hours now. It is good to end on a good note. If you never tried it, you might even enjoy it. If you did, then I will be happy to hear your thoughts about the games as well. Could be interesting to see how is the game perceived by community nowadays. Until then, take care and talk to you soon.